I'll just do a little bit on just introducing the concept for today. I'll leave it up to the distinguished panelists to get more into the details. But I'll do an introductory thing, and I'll also explain some of the past involvements of BCS with Islamophobia, because this wouldn't be the first projects that we have had. And yeah, personally for my own research and grad studies, I'm looking at transnationalism and children of immigrants. So this was a topic that naturally I was inclined to look into. So we'll get right into it. So what is it? You may have heard of the term. You may have heard of it before on the news or in the newspapers or from people talking. So it basically has to do with some sort of irrational fear of Muslims or Islam itself. And this fear, it often leads to hate, prejudice, and other forms of manifestation. And it not only has to do with just this fear, but this fear has to be translated into something else. And that can have to do with thought processes or actual harmful practices, or sometimes even systemic discrimination against Muslims and people, followers, of adherents of Islam. Last but not least, not to be confused, there is something else called xenophobia. You may have heard that term as well. It's usually thrown around election time, more so. But xenophobia really has to do with the fear of people from somewhere else or some other place. So this fear of immigrants would be classified as xenophobia. Or if I was scared of some people from XYZ country, that would be labeled as xenophobia. So a little bit different from Islamophobia, but it's the same trail of thought. So what are some of the negative impacts? So why do we care? Why do we have community projects on such a topic? One is that it creates social tension, and it creates often violence as well, violence to the physical degree of it, right? Canada, it prides itself in being a harmonious society of sorts, and fears and phobias don't lend to having a harmonious society where people get along and aren't afraid for their physical integrity. Other than that, it actually leads to a spike in hate crimes and makes your entire nation look bad, let alone your city and other jurisdictions. These things can be measured very easily these days. So hate crime is one of the downsides of it. The other is it becomes, the more it's practiced, the more it seems to become an acceptable political strategy, which is very relevant because certain people around the world have come to power through utilizing and leveraging hate. And then there's the economic aspect of it. There's people who profit